Boom, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another awesome show lined up for y'all today. This time we got somebody from right here in Southern California here to talk about life, health, and all things that side of the insurance. Here we go.
The Insurance Pro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Pro, James Cias.
All right, here we go. All you insurance pros out there, we're getting ready to dive into another fun episode. But before we do, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. I will sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, I would love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest to schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Pro Show. We are so excited and so honored to bring another awesome guest to the Insurance Pro Show. Our guest today is a life, health, and long-term care insurance expert extraordinaire who, after retiring from the world's greatest Navy, built his agency with his fellow veterans in mind. Knowing that service members are encouraged to document every ache and pain as they transition out of the military, our guest seeks to reach the veteran and educate them on maintaining their insurability. Meanwhile, for veterans and civilians alike, our guest provides an education-first approach to life and health insurance, providing all the information one might need without making it feel like a sales pitch. Tune in today to see how he does it. Joining us today out of Fallbrook, California, welcome to the show, Marc Sigmon! Marc, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, James. I really appreciate being here.
Absolutely a pleasure. Absolutely a pleasure. So tell me a little bit about yourself. U.S. Navy veteran, me too. 7 years, 7 months, 21 days. I read that you did 20 years?
I did 20 years. Yeah.
Man, how did you survive that long?
You know, whether it was that you were crazy enough to do it or wasn't smart enough to do anything better, that was really it. God, but it was the funnest. You go from crazy. I did 2 years with the Seabees, so I was on the ground in Iraq.
Okay, nice.
And Kuwait when we invaded, and then the following year in 2003, 2004, I did some tours with on the surface side. So, but man, it's probably the best, funnest. I mean, there's so many great memories that I have of that, and it actually just flew by after a while, you know.
Yeah. I'm actually I did the math, or I looked it up on Google last night. 7 years, 7 months, 21 days was how long I was in. I got out September 13th of 2013. So on May the 4th of this year, I'll be out as long as I was in.
Wow.
So yeah. It was a good time. You know, one of the things that I remember about my time in the Navy was I had to do 3 things to be, an exceptional sailor. Show up on time, have a squared away uniform, and do what I'm told. Right? 3 simple things.
Right there.
That's it. If I do 10% more, I'm like an exceptional sailor. I'm going to get that EP, that top eval, right? In the civilian world, though, the minimum doesn't cut it. So tell me about what you're doing in your agency, what you've been doing for the past 5 years, that is above and beyond and really making you an exceptional standout in the insurance space.
Well, I only started my agency a little over a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I was working for other agencies, in that, but I went independent just over a year ago, but I have all of that experience, and I think that realistically, it's that work ethic that we know that, hey, the follow up, what we're gonna do, but I think the easiest and simplest answer is that I try to keep it as simple as possible, because everybody gets so overwhelmed with information, and it's not an easy conversation to have sometimes. But the simpler that I make it, and the easier for them to understand, then they can figure out and they feel comfortable with the information that I give them. And now they're making the decision instead of me trying to convince them that this option or this product is better than the next. Let them weigh it all out, and we kind of do it together. The teamwork approach more than, I always say it. Don't think of me on the other side of the table. Invite me over to your side of the table so that we can look at it together. And I think
Nice.
that really solidifies and really puts into words what I try to do on a daily basis.
That makes a lot of sense. It's very personal that way. Like you're not the salesman in that instance. It's like you're right there. You're a teammate helping them to find the right products. What are some of the products that you're offering, and what are some of the like your ideal client? Who is it that you're going after?
The life insurance piece is obviously one that everybody needs. It doesn't matter if they're, someone's child or someone's grandchild. We can give them a great start on their financial future. If someone is looking toward their pre-retirement age, trying to make sure that we have everything needed. But the ideal client is the working person, to make sure, especially at the beginning of this pandemic. You being in the insurance, one of the biggest things everybody tells us, hey, I've got everything through work. Well, unfortunately, the rug was pulled out from underneath everybody's feet.
So true.
And we couldn't add anything to a household because they didn't know when the next income was coming in. So how are we going to increase the expenses?
Yeah, we can't sit here and depend on a $600 or a $1,400 stimulus check, right? We can't depend on that to pay the bills.
No.
So what are some of the things that you've been helping people to find to help get them through that?
Well, it was actually, one of the things that I pivoted a little bit more and really worked on the health side, because, in California, we're mandated, everybody has to have it, put them in the system, whether they're eligible for Medi-Cal, do the screening there. But now that we're kind of on our way back and we kind of feel that we have that rebound, now people remembered the fact that I reached out to them and that we heard the story. We had those real emotional conversations about the uncertainty of the future. And now they're ready to really make sure that at a bare minimum, that we have some coverage in place, that if the unthinkable happens, the last thing that family has to think about is how to pay for everything and how to survive, how to pay the next few months worth of bills or anything else like that. So, just the peace of mind that we're able to provide people when they have those conversations, that, we see it all the time. I mean, you've seen the posting on social media. The lottery isn't a retirement plan, and GoFundMe isn't a life insurance.
It's so true.
For you to take a portion, whatever it is on your side, whatever that portion is, you would never have to worry about having, the what if. It's always answered, and you can lay your head down at night with at least that. And I think that piece is what we can provide them.
Yep. I always say that what life insurance does, you learned this in your licensing class, right? Five years ago, whenever it was when you first started, the life insurance creates an immediate estate. So what I always tell people is it creates that generational wealth. So instead of leaving behind, bills, you can leave behind a will, right? It's something just simple that you have in place to make sure that your final expenses are taken care of. And
try to make the world a better place.
Exactly. We do. We try to make the world a better place for the next generation. And so many people just ignore this. When it comes to our stuff, our cars, right? We have to have insurance. We're required by law. When it comes to our homes, we have to have insurance. It's required by the bank, if you have a mortgage. When it comes to our businesses, if we're renting anywhere, we have to have insurance because our landlord says so, right? All these different things. But life insurance, health insurance, long-term care, disability, right? Or income replacement, or whichever one you decide to go with. These are optional coverages that are so much more important, because what's our most valuable asset is the ability to earn an income. So what do you tell people, besides everything that I just said?
Yeah.
How do you start that conversation? How do you get people, to listen, to give you their ear and talk to them about those specific needs?
Well, I think the number one thing is that when you come from a position of asking them what's more important to them, because you and I, we're in the industry, and we can tell you all of the great features, benefits, everything on why somebody should have this. But when we start having those real conversations, after the flowers are dead, after the phone calls stop, then what? What does that family really truly need? And if you can paint that picture for them, and because they don't like the bleakness, that bleak outlook, and the power that they almost see is that, oh my gosh, I can prevent that by simply having a conversation with you.
It's not the what, it's the why, right?
It's the why. Exactly. And I think that that's really why when you see this, and it's not, too many times in our industry, there's a scheme behind something, right? That we're going to use life insurance to, that you're going to turn it to anything other than an individual plan for a family, a business. There's so many different applications about how we can place that. But when we're looking at why life insurance is so important, it has to tell them that they know that this is something that they need, because the last thing that anybody wants to think about is in addition to dealing with all of the emotional turmoil, all of the financial turmoil that comes in with that too. Yeah. And I mean,
that just makes the emotional turmoil that much worse. I mean, it's one thing like to be mourning the loss of your loved one. It's another thing to be mourning the loss of your loved one and not be able to pay for the funeral.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
So much worse.
Yeah. And that's it. But then once we get past all that, and then they start opening up their minds and they start thinking about it, there's so many more benefits while we're still living that life insurance can provide for us, that we don't have the Grim Reaper behind us. We talk to people about how to diversify their portfolios for taxes, for retirement income, for emergencies, for anything else. I mean, so, if you paint the picture that if there was a family that was, we teach them how to save. And if they were able to save and they were able to allocate their money into building in a nice little cash value that's in there, and all of a sudden we're not dependent on that $600 or that $1,200 check. We need a little extra, and we know that we're going to be able to pay that back over time. Why not be able to build that
be my own bank, right?
Be your own bank. I mean, there's so many different catch or phrases that we always use to where, because people can relate to that.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about whether or not legislature is going to pass some relief. I've put myself in a position where I'm self-reliant, and I'm going to build my retirement feature, because there's really three phases of our retirement if we would ever do it. It's the accumulation, it's the protection, and it's the distribution.
Right.
And so when we and literally everywhere else that we talk to somebody, we talk to people about how to accumulate wealth. We talk to some people about how to protect our wealth, and we talk to somebody about how to distribute it, and all of these things. But give me one other tool out there that can do all three. And that's really why that's why we do what, that's why we wake up in the morning, is because when we know that we walk out of that house and they are better. Well, we hang up the Zoom call now, right? But when we walk out of the house, that they are in a much better position than when they first met us. We used to be in that same line about the doctors, the agents, the old fashioned. I come from a real small town in Western Colorado where a handshake means everything.
Right.
That's how you made a deal. You didn't need a contract. You shook a hand. And when your trusted agents, your trusted people in your community would come in there, they earned that trust, and they were able to give you the right advice. And that's what I try to model my practice on every single day.
I love that. It's all about those relationships. So on that note, let's pivot a little bit. We love, the products and the things that life insurance, health insurance, disability, all these things are able to do. Let's talk a little bit about the business, right? The business itself. You said that you spent about 4 years working for another agency or other agencies, and then you started your own. So let's talk about that journey a little bit. What convinced you that you wanted to do your own thing, first of all? And what were some of the first steps that you took to get started?
Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
That's exactly it right there, man. You feel like you wish that you had somebody like that was there that said, "Hey, I've been down this road." I think that it goes back to the process that I use, folks, is because in the process that I use, we're all in there. Give me a quote. Give me a quote. We're a victim of our own success. Some of the things that you hear, pay for only what you need. I save myself 15%. And those kind of things, because they kind of think that it's just one of those fire and forget things that you do. But a quote in life insurance doesn't do anybody any service unless there's a realistic chance that I have a placing that quote.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to ask a lot more questions because we were all there. When you're first starting in the business, you're so afraid that you're going to lose a deal or you're going to get told no or whatever. And so you try to make your best guess where you think that they would fall. And you write up the quote, they apply for it, and then when it comes through underwriting, the price is a lot higher than what we thought, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So now I have to go back and redo everything that I did because now we got two choices. I'm either going to sacrifice and have them feel like they're settling for something, or we're going to have to dig into that budget and try to find something fit, and hope that thing's going to last. That decision for them to provide that insurance with a higher premium than what they thought was going to be there. So what I do now is that I go in depth and I make sure that I build a little profile for them because I'm an independent broker. I go through all of the top rated agents, the carriers.
Mm-hmm.
They come back and tell me where they think we're going to fall. If we're honest in this process, I place 85 or 90% of what I quote the first time.
Wow.
And so we don't have to go through that secondary step. And insurability is, you and I both know, is based on your health. So when you go back and talk about the veterans, when they get out of the service, you and I were both told so many times, what's the first thing that you're going to do? Go put everything in your medical records. So when the VA takes a look at you, we're going to reach you for your disability rate.
Yep.
Not knowing the financial impact of putting all of that information in your, and I just ask them, what do you think my underwriters based their decision on? My medical record.
Your medical record.
Oh. Right?
Mind blown, right?
And then all of a sudden they're like, so I need to talk to you first.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? And we're not there because we protect so then our job is to protect that insurability for now and into the future, so we don't have to send them back through the nurse. We don't have to coach them on what to eat the night before. Hey, don't go working out. Don't raise any level that you have in your system. Water is your friend. Chicken, fish, salads the night before you, so you're on their side. So you're not trying to elevate any level that they don't already have. But I definitely don't want them to go eat a steak. And I definitely don't want them to have a couple beers after that. And then have the nurse show up first thing in the morning because, it may not be out of your system by then.
Get in my belly!
Right?
We're trying to tell them not to do.
Right. Tell them. And the fun part is that when you work with, because you start talking about the difference between a man and a woman when you're working with them, and we break all of the rules, right? We ask them how old they are. We ask them their height. We ask them their weight.
Right.
We do that. And when you can kind of inject a little bit of humor in all of this to understand, like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure that we give me the information so that I can help you the best. Put as many tools as you can with me, and then that way let me go to work for you,
Yep. No, absolutely. When it comes to building your business, building your practice, where do you go? How do you market? Like, what does your marketing strategy look like? Where do you get your leads from?
My leads primarily are word of mouth, but let me tell you, recently, I have to just tell you, all throughout this whole process, I had some great people that helped me with my transition on how to become, I always joked around because we went off on our last name when we were in the military, right?
Right.
And through my transition, I actually found out who Mark was. I wasn't called Mark
yeah,
I
you
was
forgot about
called
that for
Mark.
20 years.
For 20 years, nobody called me
Yeah.
by my first name, right? And I actually got in there and I dug down a little deep, through all of the different transition vessels that I took. And then I had a lot of great people. So the regional chamber and the local chambers that I'm with, you make connections with somebody. So the next thing you know, I'm on Fox 5 San Diego talking about covered California.
Nice.
And the thing is that it's all of those times when and then I got referred to you all. It's to say, hey, let's have a conversation about what we're doing and how we're plugging through and how we're pivoting and building our business. It's simply because of the fact that when I base my foundation on ethics, honesty, service, client-centered, everything that's there, people like that. They like working with me. And when they get to know who I am and what I can do by just having real conversation with them, the word spreads. So through social media, Fox 5 has helped me promote my agency through there. The web team that I have, the vendor that I have, Go Be Rewarded. They're one of the award winners for the regional chamber. I got introduced to those guys, and they provide, and they're putting my digital footprint out there.
Nice.
And then what do? I go through social media and post a mixture because the last thing you want to do is have the phone ring with your caller ID come up and the person roll their eyes. Okay, Mark, I know I need insurance. Every post that I put out on social media doesn't necessarily have to do that. Let's just put some good, solid, informative information out there and do a blend. Put the stuff out there. February is Insure Your Love Month. Let's focus on the need for life insurance during this month. But when we turn that off, that's not all I'm going to be known for talking about. I'm going to talk to people about, hey, tax time's coming up. Make sure that you're looking at some of the different changes that are coming in. I can't give tax advice, but I can raise awareness.
Right.
And when you're thinking about the summertime, hey, we all like to take those family trips. What if there was a way that you could save for these family trips and you don't have to put it all on a credit card?
Yep.
Just simply like asking those pointed questions to get people kind of thinking about it more than just, can I help you? Can I help you by putting life insurance in your family? Because when they come
100%.
around and they want to know what it is, like, how can we help them? And it over time, all of a sudden you've been working with somebody, you stop in and see them. Hey, how you doing? You pick up the phone, you call them on their birthday. Hey, happy birthday. You don't forget those kind of things. Next
Simple
thing you know,
things,
there's a phone call, there's an email, there's something. Hey, I'm ready to sit down and talk.
Simple things. Just, it's all about nurturing the relationship and, caring, right? Give a shit.
Right.
Actually care about them. Yeah. Pretty simple.
You don't have to go out and hunt. I don't have to go hunt for the next person I'm going to be looking at. I'm more of a farmer. I'm watering. I'm
nice.
I'm pulling. I'm growing that.
I like
and that's
that.
really the thing. And that's
a great analogy,
right? Because somewhere down the line, because that's the thing. If they can trust you, if they know that you're there for their best interest, no matter what it is, let's talk about us, because that's the thing. It's Marc Sigmon Insurance Agency. Yeah. But everything that they hear in the first 15 to 20 minutes of every single conversation is about them, is about working, just like you and I sitting here having a conversation. We haven't talked about the rate increase, some of the things that are coming down in the industry and everything like that, because when you walk into a home and things have happened like this, recently there was a Medicare client that I worked with. He looked at me straight in the eye. He said, I'm going to do what you tell me to do. I trust you, Mark. You can't buy that anywhere,
Oh. And
you're walking out of there, man. Dude, I could have conquered the world, and put me in the next one, because it's just like those are the moments that you do that. But I think it really, all of this comes down to the fact that my personal story. My stepdad passed away while I was in the military, right after 3 months after my grandpa died. So my mom lost her husband and her father within 3 months of each other.
Ouch.
Fortunately, being in the military, they were able to send me home and work with the recruiting office for, like 90 days at a time. So I was able to go in there and kind of help that, still get paid from the military, take care of my family. And then once that was done, then I went back and continued my service, and I was on the phone with my stepdad, and he said, something's wrong with me. He was bleeding from the stem of his brain. And we got help. I was in Chicago. He was in Colorado. We got help there. When my mom went to go collect on the life insurance policy, she didn't get a dime.
What?
Second marriage.
Oh, the beneficiary was the
beneficiary.
First wife.
You and I know this, right? That's why that's why when we call them and all of a sudden, and then how many times when I first started business, follow up. Now all of a sudden they're worried about the fact that when I reach out to them and say, hey, Mark, I don't want you to sell me anything more. No, I just want to make sure I'm servicing what we have. Yeah. How long have you had this policy? 13 years, 8 years. Has anything in your life changed since you wrote that policy to now?
Bought a house, had kids, got married, got
divorced.
Left the house.
They're in college now. Maybe I don't need much. Maybe I can just adjust some things. Maybe I can adjust my budget. Who knows? But that's why when you service that, and that's exactly why. That's when you talk about your story, and it we were on the other end of that, right? And to make sure that nobody else is going to do that. And then when I came into the business, my mom needed help with her Medicare. She was my first client.
Nice.
And I thought, and then you talk about Medicare. Now all of a sudden, when you first interview with somebody, you're coming in the insurance industry, you're not thinking about what's going on. Really, you're just thinking like, okay, what do I got to do? Right? Give me all the details. Send me out there. It's almost like that little car. You point it there, let it go, and I'm out. And then I'm going to come back.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yep. And we didn't know. And I mean, through the pandemic, go back to remember between October and December how many Medicare commercials people saw.
Oh my gosh!
And think about how many times that they get mail. And then it just comes back because they need our help, but they are so overwhelmed. They don't understand it.
They need someone to walk them through that.
And that's the thing. When you can kind of get it through, you wade through all of the stuff in your own mind, that when you come across somebody, they need us. Yeah. They need us. But you have to make yourself approachable so that you can so that they feel comfortable enough to where they can pick up the phone, they can stop you on the street, whatever, send you an email, look on your website, and then they can say, if I go here, I'm going to get the answers that I need, and we can wade through all of the other stuff, the stuff that doesn't matter to them, and let's just for 30 or 45 minutes concentrate on them.
You are absolutely right. Bravo! Exactly. Bravo!
That's why I do.
I love it. I love the passion. I love it. Man. And there's two things that I want to talk about here. First of all, is what you're talking about, and everything that you're saying is all about the content, right? I mean, you got that opportunity to be on Fox 5, and that gave you the eyes, right? They put the eyes on you. You talk about posting on social media and keeping it, fun and interesting and not boring. Russell Brunson talks about picking 5 topics that you're passionate about and rotating between those 5 so that it's not all business all the time. And that's fantastic. But I do want to give ourselves a cheap plug here. I'm going to call the business bro in and do a little obscene profit break because we do something for content as well. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Here we go. And he's muted.
There we go. Sorry, you gotta hit the unmute button. You think I'd do this for a while, right? All right, ladies and gents, real quick and easy. 30-minute conversation is all we need, one time per month. We're going to sit down and pull all that relevant information out of you, just like James has been doing with Marc. See that passion that Marc has on the show? We need to pull that out of you so that you're talking about your product or service. And then we take that content, we break it up into enough content pieces so you're posting every single day. See, the problem with most sales professionals is they're invisible. Nobody knows who they are, no matter how good they are, until they start implementing a marketing strategy. And in this case, what we're talking about is putting out content every single day. So go to businessbros.biz/done for you and just get that squared away. 30 minutes, $300 a month, done. We'll take care of everything for you. Stop being invisible, become visible so that you can be credible with consistency and then turn that into a profitability.
Boom. Thank you, sir, for that one. And, the last thing that I want to do before we end the show would kick my butt. I would be remiss, as they say, if I didn't give you the opportunity to do the same thing. Marc, let our audience know, let anybody who's listening know, and we can create this content and chop this up for you as well, so that people can know how to get in touch with you, how to work with this passionate insurance agent who wants to take care of his customers. How do people get in touch with you?
The first thing is on my office number, 760-645-3585. You can always view my website, www.marcsigmon.com, and then follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Those are the platforms that we have. But my email is insurance@marcsigmon.com. So anytime that anybody needs to get a hold of me or wants to get a hold of me, I work with them, and with COVID and with anything, everything has been around making sure that the client's comfortable. If they're comfortable with meeting face to face, you're going to see me in a mask, and I'll be as distant as we need to be, so you can hear what I'm saying. If we need to do it over Zoom, we need to do it over the phone. I'm here. I mean, that's what it is. It's almost a job interview. I'm asking you to hire me so that I can do my job, and whatever the environment, I'm here for that.
Perfect. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, Marc with a C, marcsigmon.com. Thank you, Marc, so much for being on the show, for providing this awesome insight. I really, really admire your passion for what you're doing, the service that you're providing for people. And, it shines through, and anybody who hires you is going to be lucky to have you, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for doing that.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we've got for the day. As always, a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever channel it is that you're listening to us on today. Don't forget to find me on all social media at Insurance Pro Show. Review, subscribe, like, follow, all this good stuff helps us out, helps us show up higher on those search results. And if you want to be a guest on the show, go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest. We'd love to have you on. We really, really appreciate everybody who signs up. That's all we got for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. As always, you rock my heart, rock my heart, rock my socks, have my heart. So please.
Have a nice day. Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Pro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. Look for James on all social media at